guys.
Welcome to
Hey.
On the Move with Nan and Kam. And this week we are joined by Karen McCarthy and Stephen Kim, who are partners in our PACE teams for the Allianz Partners Richmond Marathon. So they're just helping all of our runners out there if you have a goal time in mind. So Karen kind of heads up the program for us, and then Stephen has been a pacer for a year. So I'm assuming, Stephen, you're coming back this year?
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
Nice.
Love that. Love hearing that. Karen, tell us a little bit just about your background, how you got involved with doing pacing with sports backers.
Yeah, well, first I should say I've never actually been a pacer myself, so I don't have any direct pacing experience. But way back in 2011, I was on the board of the Richmond Roadrunners Club, the local running club here. And the pace team, and this was kind of before my time, the pace team was originally set up as a bit of a partnership between sports backers and the Richmond Roadrunners Club, where the Roadrunners Club would supply the pacers for the marathon. At the time, I think there was just a marathon. I know we didn't have pacers for half. I don't think half was even around back then. And I was on the board of the RRC, and the previous coordinator was on his way out. He had been doing it for a while, and they were looking for somebody new. I was looking for kind of a new project to get more involved with. Was a little skeptical because I had never been a pacer before. And the president of the Richmond Roadrunners Club at the time, Sean Cusack, said to me, which has really stuck with me. He was like, "Come on, Karen." He's like, "When's the last time you've been a beginner of something?" And he was like, "Just do it. It's fine. It's not, you're going to learn." He said, "It's mostly emailing." And I have a desk job, so I'm a good emailer. So other than race day and like the race week, there's really no in-person during the day work. You can do it, Karen. And so I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And I have been kind of organizing this every year since then.
That's awesome. And Stephen, how did you get involved for your first year last year?
It was all through Karen. So I've been a member of a Sunday running club with Karen for a couple of years now. And so through that network and friendship, Karen just kind of asked a question. I said, sure, sign me up. And we're off and running.
Simple as that.
Nice.
That's great that you only got started last year and you're like, oh, I'm definitely coming back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't miss it. No, it's a blast.
Explain to us what a pacer does on race day. Either one of you can do it. But I know, Stephen, since you said you've been a pacer, you might want to answer that.
You want to start, Karen?
Well, I can start, and then you can kind of, add your
experience of it. Sure.
Add your firsthand experience. Yeah. So when people ask me about it, because occasionally people I do marathon training team, and sometimes people find out that I'm the pacer lady, is what they call me, and they'll ask me, So like, what do they do? Like, this is my first marathon. What do they do?
Right.
And how I always explain it is that it's an experienced runner, a volunteer, which I always, they're volunteering to be out there, who leads a group on race day, and they agree to run at a set pace to help these other runners achieve a particular finish time. And so I think of, and this is kind of where Steve will jump in, I think of like the two big benefits to the pacers. One is that it kind of lightens the mental load for the runner, because you do not have to worry about looking at your watch. And that mile was a little fast. I should slow down. I should need to speed up. If I want to hit the goal, I need to do this, that, or the other thing in terms of the time. So it's kind of a load off. So you just need to pay attention to how you're feeling, drinking, taking goos, and doing all of that stuff. And the other thing is that you have like a little group of people, all who have maybe not the exact same goal as you, but a similar goal. So they may be hoping to stay with this pacer for a certain amount of time till mile blah, blah, blah. And then they're planning on going ahead. And, oh, hey, I was going to do that too. So now you have people right around you who are all kind of trying to do the same thing. And the pacer's there, and it's easy for the pacer. So they offer encouragement, tips, their experience, hey, you're feeling this, maybe this would help. And so there's that support provided by the pacer as well.
Right. I do think it is cool. I remember talking to somebody last year, or somebody made a video about, because like most of the runners are going in by themselves to do the race by themselves. And then if they're staying with somebody basically their whole marathon, then by the end of it, you probably know that person a lot more than in the beginning. And you, like, some people stay in contact with them and like make a friend by staying in that same group.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I have heard is kind of original to the Richmond Marathon in particular is that there is the ability for the runner to register ahead of time for a pace group. It's not required. It doesn't commit anybody to anything. But the key benefit to registering ahead of time is that the pace group leader will send you an email message in the couple of days right before the race to introduce themselves, say, hey, I'm going to be in this corral. This is kind of what I look like, a little bit about me. This is what the plan is. And I have heard from many runners post race, like how helpful that was in terms of easing anxiety. And also then they have their pacer's email. So some, if they were able to achieve their goal, or even if they weren't, but they got closer than they ever have, they can reach out to their pacer then and say, hey, I ran with you. It was a really great experience. I couldn't stay with you through the whole race, but I got PR'd anyway. Those kinds of back and forth often happen post-race as well.
Nice. Stephen, what was it like for you year one? Was it what you expected it to be? What was your impression of it?
I didn't know what to expect going into it, so it was just more of excitement of just doing a race. You typically do one marathon a year, so I thought, hey, half marathon, a chance to do it and have a pacing group, a new experience. That's why I signed up. Karen and the team they do a nice job of pampering you. If you're in the pacing group, you get kind of a little bit of the VIP treatment in terms of getting pre-race ready and all that other stuff, but what Karen described is exactly it, right? You are providing some, relieving some stress on the runners. You're making it easier for them to just focus on the running, the mechanics, and giving some coaching. And the pre-email that goes out, it's a words of encouragement, what to expect, who we are, you can do it. Kind of that motivation factor kind of leads up to the event itself. So yeah, it's all positive experience for everybody involved.
Nice. Well, this kind of goes hand in hand with that. You said that a little bit, but why do you all think that being a pacer is a fun experience for people that do volunteer to do it?
Well, it's sort of inspirational, right? So when you're out there meeting these folks and you kind of ask them, you try to get to know them on the email thread, but then on the day of the event, because there's a bunch of people that have not are not part of the email thread, you try to build one-on-one connections in that 10, 15-minute corral time where you're just kind of standing there with our signs. You talk to people. Who's in our group? What's your name? What are you trying to do? What did you run last year? And a couple of people said, hey, this is the third time trying to break this one mark. I wasn't able to do it. And I'm like, yes, well, this is the year you can do it. I have chills right now thinking about it, right? This older gentleman wanted to get under 140 with his daughter and he couldn't do it. And so he said, you can do it. You can do it. Here's what we're going to do. Just focus, concentrate. We're going to stay together. And then it really is inspirational. Watching these people run, you're talking to them, encouraging them, giving some coaching and guidance on, hey, making sure you're hydrating. It's hot today. You got to make sure some of those things. And then at the end, Kathy Moore and I are the ones that were in the pacing group. And then being at the finish line, and we were just ahead of that 140 time and just pulling people in to get under that 140 mark was amazing, right? To see that, and that gentleman getting it through at like 138 was awesome, giving hugs everybody. Yeah, it was beautiful.
That's great. That's such a fun, like, rewarding part of somebody's race day. Like, people are definitely not forgetting what you've done for them. That's a huge part of their, like, race success. And then also, like, reflects awesomely on Richmond. Like, that's a huge thing that if you've got that support there, like, you can come back and get your PR or come back and, try to get the same time you got last year. It's just really nice to have that dependability.
Yeah, I know we talk a lot about, like, it being America's friendliest marathon, but a lot of people think that just means with the spectators and people cheering them on, but that also goes for pacers and for our MTT and HMTT coaches and AK training team coaches, like, and your teammates. And there's just so many ways to be supported throughout the race that it's like, I feel like if somebody wanted to try to do a race, this would be a perfect first race, just because there's so many ways that can encourage you to keep going. Whereas like another race is just like, whatever.
Yeah. And I know, Karen, it kind of was when you said that, it helps take the guesswork out of race day. I think that's also so nice. Like we talk about that with MTT. I feel like we talk about MTT so much, especially Cam and I are both in the marketing department. So especially within marketing, we're constantly talking about how we're both also training team participants. So we talk about how it takes, that guesswork out of your training. Like it's so nice, but this is like definitely taking the guesswork out of race day. So it's kind of cool to see that continuation of experience that you can have if you wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. And, one of the great things about the relationship between the Richmond Roadrunners and sports backers is that a significant portion of our pacers either live here in Richmond, or I do have some longtime pacers who say come in from Virginia Beach or from Northern Virginia. So they don't live here, but they have run the race and paced a bunch of times. So they are super familiar with the courses and where the hills are. And up here, we're going to make a right turn. And then there's going to be a water stop there. And then after that, we're going to have a little uphill. And so we might slow down a little bit on the uphill. Nobody panic. All of that, like that familiarity with where the tough parts are. I know that. I mean, myself as a runner, I just want to know what to expect. I don't care how bad it is. Just tell me what's coming. So I really appreciate that the pacers have that kind of local knowledge of the course.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Pacer group, it was 3 of us last year. And then basically we kind of did a little bit of planning for it. And to Karen's point, we do map out, make sure we are aligned with in terms of some of the coaching and guidance that we want to give based on what the terrain looks like, the elevation, et cetera. So that exactly, so they know what to expect, right? So it makes it no surprises. They know how to plan and just stay at pace for the entire time. And then a cool part is in that pacing group, we had the big 140 flag. We've got the flag up and we're running in the middle or towards the front of the group. And a lot of the folks, you mentioned friendliest marathon, right? Where people are yelling at the groups. They're saying, hey, go 140. We've heard that 50 times during the race. Yeah. And that kind of motivates you a little bit, right? So that's pretty cool as well.
Well, me and Ashley, somebody on staff, we were talking about it. Like, it's just crazy because you guys are there. Like you said, the course, when the hard parts are coming up, but the pacers and the coaches are like toughing through it because y'all have to be the rock for the people who are actually racing.
Yeah.
Who are like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. You're going to be like, no, it's not. Even if it is tough. Because
right. You can't let your weakness show.
Yeah, you can't let your weakness show.
Right. No, you're right. But then at the same time, I would say the flip side of that is, it's fun. You're motivating people. So like I get a lot of energy from it. So for me, it was an easy run, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times if I'm running by myself and running, that distance, it's hard work, right? But when you're doing with a group of people, you're trying to inspire them, they inspire you. That energy that comes from that, it makes it an easier run.
Yeah. When I am recruiting pacers, I do tell them that you need to be pacing a group that is slower than what you would normally run. Yeah. So it's usually, I say, about 7 to 10 minutes slower than your regular half marathon time, or on the marathon side, at least 15 minutes slower. And that is so that it is more fun and an easier pace for you so that you can devote more of your energy towards the other runners. So you're not as worried about yourself and your ability to hold the pace. It should be an easy conversational run for you. That said, we do try to have at least 2 or 3 pacers for every group because they are still just, runners, and anything can happen on any given day. So I always want to make, and there are pacers who have bad days and have to drop out or fall behind. And that's why we try to have multiple in case something happens. But ideally, this is like an easy run for the pacers, and they're just out there for the fun of it.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking about I'm just I don't even know. And Stephen, how many marathons and races had you done prior where you were like, I'm confident in my pacing ability?
Right.
Now is the time.
I've done the Richmond half marathon was 20 plus years ago. Probably one of the best experiences of my life was training for the half marathon with my daughter, the Richmond Marathon. We wanted to get under 2 hours and we basically pace each other. So that was an amazing experience. Again, I've done probably 4 marathons prior to do the pacing. But yeah, it's, you have that target and often you're out there by yourself. I've tried to sign up for some pacing groups for that, but I've not. The marathons I have run in didn't have pacing groups, so I certainly see the benefits of it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That I guess you were talking about you try to get 2 or 3 pacers per group, Karen. So what are the other requirements that you look for when you are like looking for new pacers, and then what times are you recruiting for this year?
Yeah, so I mentioned kind of the time gap that I'm looking for, and I will ask. So I ask people your recent races, like what were you running, to make sure that what they're asking for, the group they're asking for, makes sense for them. Sometimes some folks who may not have ever paced before, even if they've run a lot, kind of underestimate that. So they'll want to pace a group that, say, is like within 5 minutes of their marathon time. And I'll say, that's probably not a good idea. You need a little bit more wiggle room. Yeah. And I've had, several really fast runners who prefer to go significantly slower in their pace group that they're assigned. And one of them actually said to me, it's way more fun back there than it is up front. In terms of the race. And then, I ask that they have to be well trained. You're doing all your training on your own. Generally, an encouraging personality, which does not necessarily mean that everybody has to be a super rah-rah cheerleader. Right. When I have had people pacing me, I don't really prefer the constant chatter and the you can do it. Like I kind of like the calm, steady presence next to me, but encouraging personality and willing to have this day be not about their run. It is about the other runners. And sometimes some people aren't great at that. They get out there and they start running and they're like, I'm running, so I just go. And then they kind of lose track of what the purpose of the run is. Right. So those are kind of the main qualifiers. I ask if you live here. If you have paced before, either here, I know if you've paced at Richmond, but if some people have paced in other places and they want to come to Richmond to pace. And, just kind of their racing experience in general. There aren't any strict criteria. I don't say you have to have run 10 marathons before you can pace. I don't do that. Because we have more than one pacer for each group, I will sometimes put a new pacer in with 2 veteran pacers. That's how I incorporate people who haven't done it before. Because I know the veterans will say, this is generally how we do things here and, how it all works, and give advice from there. But we now have, I mentioned we have pacers for the half marathon and the full. And on the half side, there are 8 different groups. They go from 1:30, every 5 to 10 minutes up through 2:30. And then on the full side, we go from 3 hours to 5:30. And so I am recruiting now. I have some slots filled, and this is generally how it happens. I always have some holes that I'm working to fill as we get closer to the race. The half slots are generally easier for me to fill. A half marathon's easier to run, even for a pacer, than the full. So I have some fast slots open on the half marathon side, but generally 2 hours and up, I'm pretty filled up on the pacer side. That's a nice, easy pace, very popular. Tons of runners are doing 2 hours, 2:15, 2:30 range. And then on the marathon side, a couple of the groups are full and I have 3 pacers. Most of them have at least 1 or more openings right now. So I am still recruiting for more pacers.
Nice. Good to know. Subtle plug. We need more pacers. Email Karen. We'll get to that part for sure.
Yes.
I also had a question. Do they run? Because I'm at the start and the finish. So I do think I know the answer to this question. But we holding the sign the whole time?
We are,
Yeah, so talk about the sign, Steve.
Not weird, Steven?
So I was a little stressed out about holding the sign up and running because, there's the technique. You got to swing your arms.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I like carrying the flag, right? It's a steel rod, but it's light and, it's not that heavy. I thought it'd be kind of getting in the way, but you just change hands. And I kind of enjoyed carrying the flag for the team. So
nice.
Did you
Yeah,
carry
it's
it
not
the whole
that bad.
time?
But you do carry it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has
Because
it has the time.
well, I
It
didn't
has a
know
time
if they
on
switched
it.
between the
Three of them.
coaches.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
the key, Cameron.
out of the three of us, Kathy didn't want to carry it, so the other gentleman and I took turns carrying it, so we didn't mind. So yeah, it was good.
Nice.
I have heard that it is really only sometimes an issue if it's a really windy day.
Oh, I
Because
Yeah,
then
let's
it's
do
kind
that.
of
Let's
like
do
can be
that.
hard to
Yeah.
but other
Just
than
going
that
on
they kind of rotate it around. And it is, I mean, I have also like after the pace teams go out, I go out on the course to see how things are going. And that sign is a great spectator tool.
Oh, it
If
really
you,
is. Yeah.
oh my gosh, because you go out there, you're like, how fast are these people running? I don't know if I missed my person or not. And,
yeah,
and
sure.
then the pace groups come by and you're like, okay, I know my person's going to run a 2-hour half marathon and that's 150 just went by. So I haven't missed them.
Right.
So it's a great tool for spectators as well.
Even Cameron's out on the course. I used to we switched. I used to do her job and I'm down at the finish now. And out on the course, I remember it also helped because like, we know it started, but you're not sure. You're like, what point of the race are we at?
Yeah, yeah.
So it is very
Right.
helpful to staff even.
Yeah, it's handy.
What is this might be since you've paced once just last year, but are there any good stories from last year besides the 140 family that kind of stands out to you, Stephen?
That's probably the biggest one. Some good conversations. I think it's about building relationships. So people have still reached out even, weeks after the race. And then again, it was the finish, right? We wanted to go a little bit under the 140 mark. So we got there a little bit earlier than normal, but then that gave us the pacers to kind of stop before crossing the finish line to look back and account for everybody and then just kind of wave them in. So for me, that moment right there at the finish line, waving everybody in, calling out their names and saying, hey, come on, come on, come on. And seeing most of them come through under the 140 was just, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think because, like, obviously they did all the hard work to do it and to get there, but you're like, wow, I really helped these people just get the time that they wanted to get.
Yep, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I know. I always tell the pacers, like in my, my final email, which is like the day before the race, what an important role they're playing in the race. And I always remind them that there are hundreds and hundreds of race volunteers that, and everybody has their job to pull off this successful day. But these people are the only volunteers who run the entire race with the runners. So like in my mind, they're my special volunteers.
Yes, but you were saying VIP experience for them a little bit. I was like, yeah, you guys deserve that. That is deserved.
No,
Yeah,
wait, I have to clarify.
Race day.
I have to clarify because they're runners, their VIP experience is that they get to use indoor bathrooms.
That's
it.
deserved. That is
And they get heat. They get
That
heat.
is.
If it's a cold day, they're so appreciative of getting to come inside. Yeah, we don't want to overblow the VIP experience.
I'm not getting picked up by a limo, right?
If we're working. So
Yeah,
Yeah, and they don't have to go to bag check. We take their bags
That's
for them.
nice.
Yeah, and honestly, like the pacers, they're so cool because they're like, that's all we need. We don't. Yeah, that will make us happy. Just let me use an indoor bathroom, and I am good.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a real incentive. You might be influxed with signups now.
Yeah,
It's a good
like, I
incentive
get
for
to
sure.
use indoor bathrooms. I'm pacing.
yeah.
Right.
If somebody's listening and they're interested, Karen, how can they sign up and get more information about being a pacer?
Yeah, if you want to be a pacer, like lead a pace group, then my email address is somewhere on your website, but you can just email me. The email address is racepacers@rrrc.org. So it's richmondroadrunnersclub.org.
Yeah,
and then if you're interested,
page, there's like a pace teams page.
Yeah, if you're interested in being a runner and joining a pace group, then that information is on the richmondmarathon.org site. I think it's under like race weekend. There's a drop down for pace team.
Okay.
And you can register there. And I mentioned it's not required. You'll get the email from your leader if you do register. But runners tend to get a little stressed out about that. Like, what if I change my mind, or what if I can't keep up? And it's all like totally no obligation
Right.
at all. Run with anyone you want, go ahead of them, drop back, join a pace group in the middle of the race. Any of that is perfectly okay.
Sounds
That's good
great.
to know.
Yeah, all good to know. Well, thank you all so much for all this good information and for getting everybody excited about Richmond. And Stephen, thank you for giving up part of your race experience to help other people. That is very, very awesome. So now we go on to the hard part of the podcast, the this or that, the rapid fire questions here. Take it away.
Yeah. So this one, I did this question, so I'll ask this one. Would you prefer pacing a race or racing for fun?
Ooh, that's pretty close. I mean, I like both, but I would say just for the experience, I think pacing is racing for fun in a way, right? It's to me, it's very similar. It was a blast. So I would say both equal.
Nice. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I said I've never actually been an official
Right.
pacer, but I have been unofficially pacing people before, that's what I would pick. Yeah, pacing
Okay.
someone. Yeah.
If I was confident in how fast I could run, I feel like I would like pacing because they're stuck with me. They got to be my buddy.
You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be fast, Nan.
Ranges, yep.
Yeah.
I'd be in the walk crew.
Great in my own pace.
So we're getting into the fall, not quite at the Halloween time, but we're getting a little close. So are you more into a funny costume or a scary costume?
Probably be more into funny costume. I try to be a fun guy, so I don't want to scare little kids. So probably something fun.
Yeah, I'm a funny too. I kind of like the funny, like funny and kind of intelligent. Like you kind of have to like, oh, that's a really
Think
good
about it.
one. Like
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little clever costume. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
two non-serious people over here.
Yeah.
So we're funny
funny
all
as
the
well.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the third one, which I guess it doesn't have to do with just pacing because it could do with like training runs. Do you prefer tracking mentally or tracking with a watch?
Yeah, how precise are we getting?
Oh yeah, you have to definitely with a watch. With the
Okay.
Garmin, you wear it the entire time. It keeps pace, keep checking, because then I think that also helps relieve some of the stress. But I do enjoy running without a clock or a watch and just on my own without having to worry about it. But that's not when I'm training. I'm just doing it on my own. So, yeah.
Yeah, I am mostly without a watch.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's not fully because I very rarely run alone. And so usually somebody I'm with will have a watch, and I'm not really particularly obsessed with the pace that we're going, but just like, how far are we gone and how much time has it taken us? And somebody will know that.
Yes.
But yeah, my watch died probably 6 months ago, and I just haven't replaced it. And I'm kind of liking it.
Love that freedom for you.
Yeah.
I'm watch obsessed.
Yeah,
so
say,
yeah.
For me, if I don't even have my watch on right now. I forgot this morning.
Oh,
But
I'd be driving
if I
home.
work out at all, I'm like, I have to have my watch on. Like, it doesn't count if I don't have a watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Watch obsessed.
Yeah, well, there was a group of us that runs. Everybody that I used to run with here at the office during the week is now doing MTT, so they've left me in the dust. But when we would start our watches, even on the run, there would be some like dispute of like mine says 3.2.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a little different.
3.28. Yeah.
Garmin, iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch.
Yeah. So all over the place.
Yeah,
Well, thank you both so much. We really appreciate it.
thank you.
This is fun. Yeah.
Good.
Nice
So
meeting all of you.
glad. Well, everybody sign up to PACE or sign up to be part of a PACE team, and you can run with awesome volunteers like Steven, or you could have an impact on somebody else's race day and help them cross the finish line and complete a goal. So thank you both for all the hard work you put into this, and hopefully we'll see you on race day.
Have a great
Yeah.
race.
Yeah. See you out there.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.